In Jesus. There's power in the name of.
Do not negate, do not dismiss, do not forget about the promises of God. Allow them to be foremost in your mind. Contemplate them, consider them, make them a part of your regular diet. The promises of God. Today we're going to look at God's promises, the weapon against fear. Yes. And we need to understand about fear. It really is experienced in your mind, but it triggers a strong physical reaction in your body. As soon as you recognize fear, your amygdala, which is a small organ in the middle of your brain, goes to work. It alerts your nervous system, which sets your body's fear response into motion. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released. Your blood pressure and heart rate increase. You start breathing faster. Even your blood flow changes. Blood actually flows from your heart and into your limbs, making it easier for you to start throwing punches or run for your life. Your body is preparing for flight or fight. That's what fear does. Causes of fear: death, and these are the major causes. Harm, which is to us or to things we own. You're concerned about their security and safety. Personal experiences that affect us, which is shame, rejection, failure. We're afraid of those things. They sometimes stimulate fear in us. And then finally, of the ones that we're going to cover, is the unknown. Things that are out of our control. Is there anyone that is now confronted or wrestling with something that is out of your control? You have no power over it. You can't determine how things are going to happen, when they're going to happen, where they're going to happen, what time frame. It is out of your control. It could be your children. You're concerned about maybe they have a health issue and it's out of your control. Or they could be a tantrum or a rebellion that they're going through and it's out of your control. It could be your spouse. It's out of your control how they're behaving and acting. On your job, it looks like the economy has tanked. It appears that the income that was coming into the business is now dwindling, and now your job is threatened, and it's out of your control. If you're the owner, you're facing bankruptcy and loss, and it's out of your control. There's so many things that could occur in our life that we lose control of. And it's like we're being pushed along. And we are there probably trying to frail or fail. But there's no way that we can grab onto anything to hold us. So we look at it and it's out of control. The unknown. Things that are out of our control. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, we have a story that is able to allow us to peer into a situation that occurred thousands of years ago that caused a king of Judah, Jehoshaphat, fear. because he was facing something that was out of his control. But we're going to see how he dealt with it briefly as we go further into understanding fear and how God gives us his promises as a weapon against fear. So 2 Chronicles chapter 20. I'm going to read verse 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to go down to verse 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, I'm not going to read the entirety. There's certain parts I'm going to cut out because they're explaining something that I don't think is necessary, at least for us. I want to make it applicable to us. In verse 2 of 2 Chronicles chapter 20, it says, Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, who was the king of Judah, saying, There cometh a great multitude against you from beyond the sea. And in verse 3 it says this, And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek the Lord and proclaim a fast throughout all Judah. And verse 4 says, And Judah gathered themselves together to ask help of the Lord. Even out of all the cities of Judah, they came to seek the Lord. Now, if we go down to verse 12 of the same chapter, it says, O our God, will you not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us. Neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon you. And all Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Then came the Spirit of the Lord in the midst of the congregation. And he said, Thus said the Lord unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Say amen for the word. Amen. And I hope this is a message that would allow whoever, and I guess all of us, who feel that they are under the gun at the moment, who feel that life is hopeless, that they have tried all they could to resolve and to correct something, to bring order to it, but yet it is still out of control. It seems to be spiraling at a pace and at a state that it just looked hopeless. But this story, it gives us a glimmer of hope, an expectation of what we can look for when we are in that position. Here you have Jehoshaphat and the Israelites. They are being threatened by a number of countries that have assembled together. A tremendous army that's much greater and larger and more equipped than the Jewish army. And so fear entered into Jehoshaphat's heart. He's the leader, and understand this is important. As the leader, the enemy wants to intimidate you. As the leader, whether you're the head of the household, whether you are the CEO or the boss on the job, whether you're the teacher in the classroom, whether you're the civic leader in the community, whether you're a political leader, the enemy wants to drive fear into our hearts. Because if fear controls us, you could be a pastor in a church. The enemy wants to cause fear to control us. Because what it would do is it will cause a problem and chaos and confusion amongst those that are looking to us in the time of crisis, in the time of trouble. You're a parent, and the enemy wants you to be afraid of losing your home, afraid of losing your job, afraid of losing your health, afraid of not being able to pay the bills, afraid of this and afraid of that. He wants fear to rule you so that he could manipulate and he could disseminate to us what decisions to make that will really be against our best interest. What's going on in our society right now is fear. Driving of fear. Whether it's the pandemic, whether it is some political things that are going on that are using fear to manipulate, deceive, and to destroy, and to separate. We cannot be intimidated or driven by fear, particularly when you are a leader. Because when a leader begins to sow fear into the hearts of people, that's where you get a Hitler from, where you get a Mussolini from, you get a Putin from. You get them from being to driving fear into the hearts of people. Jehoshaphat, what he said is this here. He said, listen, we got to pray, y'all. We see, Lord, and he went to God and said, listen, God, he said, it doesn't matter how weak we are. What matters is how great you are. That's the power that God wants to understand when we believe in his promises. The fact that fear wants us to look at ourselves, look at our inadequacy, look at our flaws, look at our trouble, and it wants to drive us to humiliation. But what Jehoshaphat did, he said they set themselves to seek the Lord. And when you are facing something that's causing you fear, where it is disrupting your sleep, disrupting your ability to eat, you're having ulcers, you're having aggravation, where there's stress that is so much in your life, where you're unable to be comfortable, you're unable to enjoy life because you're so stressed out, because you're overwhelmingly concerned about a catastrophe, about a health issue, about a financial thing going on, about a pandemic, about political crises. He said, Lord, our eyes are on you. Set your eyes on the Lord when you're in fear. Not on your fear. Not on your trouble. Not on your circumstance. Set your eyes on the Lord. As the scripture says, I will lift my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, who made the heavens and the earth. God has given us promises. And they are the weapon that we use against fear. Fear is the word we use to describe our emotional reaction to something that seems dangerous. But the word fear is also used in another way. It is to name something a person often feels afraid of. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions. It is programmed into the nervous system, and it works like an instinct. From the time we are infants, we are equipped with the survival instincts necessary to respond with fear when we sense danger or feel unsafe. Basically, there's two things that a baby is born with when it comes to fear. They have a fear of loud noises. So whenever there's an infant and you slam a door and it catches me, you see them shake. It's something that they're born with. It's a fear. And then also they grab it. The fear of falling. So they're grabbed and they try to reach there. So those are the basic two fears that a human is born with. A fear of falling and a fear of loud noises, particularly when they're unexpected. Fear helps protect us. It makes us alert to danger and prepares us to deal with it. Feeling afraid is very natural and helpful in some situations. Fear can be like a warning, a signal that causes us to be careful. So there are some healthy things about fear. But today we're going to look at some other aspects of fear. The influence of fear can also produce negative reactions. Number one, fear causes us to reduce the size of God and elevate the size and opinion of man and our problem. Amen, y'all. That's what fear does. Fear causes us to lead people in the wrong direction. Fear causes us to stay quiet where we should clearly speak up. You ever had that experience? When you know something needs to be said, but for some reason you were fearful of speaking at that moment. Fear causes us to be passive about an issue that the Lord has clearly brought to our attention. There are times that God will point out to you something that He wants you to address, but because of fear you fail to. Fear causes us to seek agreement with others rather than really seeking the voice of the Lord. Amen, y'all. Oh, yeah. Fear causes us to not engage with diversity. We're afraid of things that are different than what we are comfortable with. People, situations, circumstances. If they're not something I'm familiar with, I'm just uncomfortable with them and I want to shun them. Fear causes us to refuse to embrace change because we care way more about being comfortable than being conformed into the image of Christ. Fear causes us to control things and take matters into our own hands rather than trusting the Lord. Has everybody been there? Come on, y'all. Come on, you control freaks. Come on, y'all. Yeah. Number 9, fear causes us to conceal sin and shame in our lives. Then finally, fear causes us to seek the easy decision rather than seeking the right one. You're seeking the easy way rather than the right way. One of the things that I found out in my senior years is that when you find the right whatever it is, it's worth the wait. We're often rushing into things because we want to quickly see resolution of a matter. Whatever seems to be the issue that is pressing on us at the time. But I'm telling you, be careful. Wait to get the right situation, the right person, the right conditions. Because when you wait, you will find out it is worth the wait.
Say it again, Jesus. There's power in the name of